Guys, welcome back to another week of Mortgage Matters in Minutes. Again, I'm your host, Brent Rasmussen, owner of Mortgage Specialists. So today we're going to talk about a very common question, which is how much do I need for a down payment? And a lot of people are looking for a black and white answer, a very simple, direct number or a percentage, and it might not be that easy. It's not complicated. It's not extremely hard, but we're going to talk about that today. The biggest thing I want to suggest to you is down payment is not all that is needed in order to purchase and close on a home. Down payment is just the part that's the lender is requiring, and there's different down payments defined by different loans. So besides down payment, you also have to pay your closing costs and monies for escrows for your property taxes and your insurance. We call that amount in our industry cash to close. We have a lot of slang terms that have been around for a long time, but your total amount of money you need is for cash to close. But I know when some people call and ask, they use the word down payment, but they mean cash to close. Today, we're going to talk about just the down payment itself. So first of all, what is the down payment? Lenders have came up with formulas that they feel make the loan less risky if people put their own money towards a transaction. You know, if you look back at statistics in years in the past, and we looked at loans where no down payment was put down, those loans were much more riskier than the ones that people put 20, 30, 40% of the price of the home down, because once you give up 20, 40, $100,000, you want that money back. You don't want to let it go. You don't want to just let it go by the wayside with a foreclosure or something like that. So what lenders use the word skin in the game, that means how much money are you putting up front for you to obtain that property. So down payment factors depend on, again, what the price of the home is and what type of loan are you going with. It also could make a difference on how much your credit score is, whether you qualify a certain amount or not. But down payments usually are percentages based upon the price of the home. Most people know that you need to come up with 20%. That's not required. 20% down is not a need or a requirement. It makes and allows for you to not have private mortgage insurance, but 20% is not always required. And I would tell you it's very few and far between that a first-time home buyer comes up with 20%. I would say in my office and over the 25 years, that happens less than 5% of the time, even with family members gifting them the money. It's not as common as people would assume it to be, because 20% of a home price of 3, 4, 500,000 is a larger number. So again, the benefits of a down payment, actually, let's back up a little bit. If we're looking at a conventional loan, you can get into a home as little as 3% for a down payment. So let's say the home price is $100,000. 3% of that is $3,000. Generally speaking, we look at down payments, rounded numbers. 3% is kind of the unique outlier, but 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30%, and 40% generally are kind of the tiers where you might see either different interest rates and or different mortgage insurance. Some people aren't aware that if you put 5% down, the rate might be different than if you put 40% down. It just makes logical sense, because the more you put down in that house and you contribute to that transaction, the lower the risk is going to be, because you're not going to want to just let your house go and lose that 40% down payment you put into the home itself. So conventional loans is first. FHA loans, minimum down payment's 3.5%. You can put 10%, 20%, 30, 40% down on FHA. Generally speaking, it doesn't do much to your interest rate, but it can. VA loans people love because they require 0% down. Same with USDA loans. So each different kind of loan, and depending on what you qualify for, there are different down payments and different down payment options. So the benefit of putting a large down payment is it's going to lower your mortgage payment, making it smaller for you to pay every single month. Also, if you get to that 20% mark, you don't have to pay mortgage insurance, so your payment again is cheaper. But I see it sometimes as a balancing act. A lot of people always want to talk about doing the max or the most you can. But a negative of putting a large down payment down is that maybe your money is tied up in the stock market. You got to pay capital gains to get it out. Or maybe putting $40,000 in your house, you could put $10,000 or $20,000 in your house, keep the $10,000 or $20,000 for savings for emergency. Or you might be able to take the $10,000 or $20,000 of down payment and then the $10,000 or $20,000 invest it. And maybe over 5 or 10 or 20 years, you're going to gain more than just the appreciation of your house. So I'm never always about, let's put the max down payment down. Let's look at your situation, your financial situation, your goals, and figure out what works for you. Most buyers, especially first-time home buyers, look at the very lowest down payment that's out there. It just makes sense because they don't have huge savings. But we've also had a lot of clients that are buying their second and third house and might choose to not put as much money down, to take that and put it set aside for savings, maybe pay off some credit card bills, or maybe turn around and invest it and make more money in the stock market or some other investment that they might have, like a business or something else that they feel is going to give them a better rate of return than their house. So let's look at kind of the negatives of a smaller down payment. So if you put a small down payment down, obviously your payment's going to be higher. You might have to pay higher mortgage insurance because that's all based upon your down payment. So those two negatives alone sometimes offset putting the smaller down and then also paying PMI, but you have that ability possibly to save that money and do different things with it. There's no right or wrong way of doing a down payment. Whether you qualify for this one or you qualify for that one, it's your perspective on how much you want to use. And we get this question often where, how much should I put down? And there's no immediate answer I can give anyone until we ask, hey, what are your goals? Are you saving enough for retirement? Do you have a reserve fund? Are you saving up for some special occurrence? So that has been always my drive here at Mortgage Specialist and starting my own company, but also helping the consumer is looking at all of their choices, all of their options, similar to a financial planner, and giving them the best answers that we can based on their situation. Obviously, many people want to win the game by putting the most down or getting the best interest rate or whatever the case may be. But just like investing, putting all of your eggs in one basket isn't the most safe, and it isn't always the best rate of return for you. We believe highly in diversification, having multiple investments, having a good balancing act between debt, savings, and income, and looking at the whole situation, how a mortgage loan is going to impact you and your family moving forward. Because we do know the markets don't always go up and home prices don't always go up. But generally speaking, over time, if we look at a longer term, you're going to gain more money the more you have time invested and more of the money you have invested as well too. Hopefully you can learn a little bit about the down payment so you can start to budget yourself about saving that money. And it might take days, years, weeks, months. But then also maybe you have to cut back expenses to make sure you have enough money saved or set aside for that next home. And while we are seeing home prices go up, that number for down payment and cash to close continually goes up. So hopefully you can also look towards a family member and receive a gift, which we've put together videos on. But today, in talking about down payment, I feel that we've answered much of the basic questions that people ask us. How much do I need? Where do I get it from? And does it make a difference whether I use all of it or just a little bit of it to make sure I get in the house? So again, my name is Brent Rasmussen. I'm owner of Mortgage Specialist. We'd love for you to subscribe to our YouTube channel here to get regular weekly updates about different types of industry knowledge and expertise in regards to financing a home purchase and or the lending side and or just homes in general. And we are here each and every week to provide you with this information. And have a great rest of your day. You can always contact us on the phone at 402-991-5153 or on our website at mtg-specialists.com. Have a great week, everyone. Mortgage Specialists. Driven, trusted, reliable.